Well, I'm gonna turn my light on because I'm a fucking dummy. There we go. All right. Uh, Welcome to another edition of Chocobo Chasers. I am your host, G. Be sure to like, share, subscribe wherever you go ahead and get your podcasts. And as always, I am joined by the Chocobros, Eric and Dash. How are you guys doing tonight?
We got to
Pretty
keep that
good.
intro.
Oh,
I like that. Yeah. We can't edit that one out.
All right. I'll be sure to go ahead and keep that one in this time. So it's been a pretty slow news week for gaming. We do have a few things to go ahead and cover, but really it's been pretty light. So this might be a shorter episode, but we always appreciate everybody who's tuning in. And stay tuned because we're literally right before the show. We were talking about a guest who's just agreed to go ahead and come on the show. We're really excited about something a little bit different from the guests that we've had on prior. And so I think it's going to be a really good time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. We are on episode 48. We're nearing episode 50, and I feel like for 50, we should do something fun. So something to maybe kind of plan over the next few weeks. But
We got to be coming up on the anniversary here soon, too.
yeah, it's
May 10th or May 11th,
yeah.
something like
So
that.
for first or second week of May. So we're riding high right now. It's been a wild ride, and we'll have to do something fun for our first anniversary show as well. Um, As we normally go ahead and do, we're going to kick off this week's episode with a What Are You Playing? Eric, I'm actually going to have you go ahead and start us off because you were talking about a game right before, which I'm pretty sure is going to be part of this segment. So,
Oh, for sure, for sure. And well, one, thank you for having me on. No,
it's my pleasure.
yeah. So I kind of kept a little bit of the usual for the most part. I ran some Hell Divers, leveled up, got the 500 kilogram bomb.
So
It's
fun.
it's so awesome. It's really cool to stand there and just have it blow up and your cape flies in the wind. That's most of the time why I call mine in. Um, I also killed my first Bile Titan. I killed it by landing through its face with a pod after it had killed me. So that's always pretty awesome. But no, so we I played on what is it? What's the very hard one? Is that difficulty level
I think
7?
it's so
I
seven
haven't
is
played on
suicide
Helldive.
mission, I
The
think.
challenging suicide mission and then hell dive mode. So
Okay.
those are like the 7, 8, 9s, I believe.
Okay. So I played on 7 for the first time. Chaos.
Or it's
Absolute chaos.
extreme. I think it's what 7
Yeah.
It's just like there were Bile Titans spawning left and right. I'm over here with my grenade launcher, just shouting into the ether, you know, just hitting them in the face, and then they're just like, "Hey, bud, what's up?" And they just spit acid on me and kill me. But then I got the 500 kilogram bomb, and that's when the Fire Nation attacked.
Make short work of them.
Oh yeah, no, but it's just like that's the perfect just turn off your mind,
It's just such a
and
it's
it's
so
just
good.
always like nothing's like it's not monotonous. Like it's just like
Yes.
yeah, you're doing the same missions over and over, and a lot of it's all, but so much shit can go wrong, or so much fun can be had with your friends. I
Yeah.
can't tell you. I probably had there was one round I probably had 12 team kills because I was just I wasn't even doing it on purpose either. That's what was the most impressive thing. I'd throw down an auto cannon, it would turn, do a 180, shoot a friend in the face that was under attack. The auto cannons sometimes are more dangerous than the bugs themselves.
It's yeah. I would absolutely agree with that.
One of my favorite things to do is to take the recoilless rifle and go run around and just hit people with backblast and then run away. I don't know if y'all ever do that because that's a really cool feature is that black backblast will just knock you on your ass.
I literally don't not even know that that was a thing.
Oh, so if you stand behind any rocket, it will knock you down. It's awesome.
Huh.
So I just go around shooting backblast at people to knock them over and then I run away. We'll
Worth the
have to
one
play
rocket.
and yeah, we'll have to play and do it. Well, if you have the recoilless rifle, you have the backpack and you can just keep reloading.
Right. Same thing as the autocannon.
Mhm.
It's my go-to every time.
And you can even get your friends to reload you so it's faster.
So
Put a
good.
little bit of Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, just a little bit of that, pledge to Rob Stark. I'm gonna make sure the Red Wedding doesn't happen. Justice for my boy, one of my favorite characters from the books. And then I decided to try something different. I've been wanting to buy Rogue Trader Warhammer 40K, made by Owlcat Studios, who makes one of my favorite games, Pathfinder, Kingmaker, Wrath of the Righteous. Dash has You've done Kingmaker, right? And not Wrath.
Yeah, I
Correct.
haven't played that Keymaker in quite some time, so I need to get back to that.
Yeah, the backlog, man.
The backlog
The
is
backlog.
always
The backlog looms ever near.
every time I
But
buy something new, it hits me harder.
so it in Wrath of the Righteous, you have a choice between real time with pause and turn based,
Okay.
whereas Rogue Trader you just are turn based.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it's a lot of fun to play in like that Warhammer 40K world, turn based. You make a party, you recruit different people. You're a rogue trader, obviously, and you kind of get thrust upon being the head of a group, and you have to like build a ship. You have to maintain the crews, and the crews are thousands and thousands of people deep because you're traversing all the Coronis expanse, and you're going to different planets and things like that, trying to earn you don't earn money or gold in the game, you earn profit factor.
Hmm.
And with these merchants, you get these levels, like you have to have a certain amount of profit factor. I'm at like 27. I don't understand the system at all. But once you unlock 27 with a merchant, you just get all that stuff from
Oh.
those people and you don't have to pay money for it.
Oh.
Strange, but unique. It's fun. And also a former guest of ours is one of the player characters. Rhiannon Mauschel is I think I didn't look at which one she said she played, but I was going there testing. I think she's the heretical female line.
Which is
And
awesome.
yeah, that
We
seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
yeah, we're big we try to be big supporters of, everybody who is on our show. So if you're into Warhammer 40K, definitely be sure to check it
It's
out
tons of fun so
because
far.
yeah,
I'm on
tons
Act
of fun.
Two.
And then
I know Life did on Saturday, and my buddy was like, "Man, how many hours do you have?" And this was Saturday night. I said 7 hours. He's like, "You bought that at noon?" I said, "Yeah." So that's how my weekend went. I played the shit out of that. I
hell yeah.
also have bought Dragon's Dogma 2 in
Ooh.
preparation for this week, and I decided that I would go ahead and make my character. So I played around the content creator for like an hour or two early Saturday morning, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm excited for that. I want to kill some big monsters.
It looks incredible. And we'll
It
actually be talking
does.
about it a little bit more in the show. So uh we'll save that for that conversation. But yeah, it looks awesome. Uh, Dash, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
So primarily the most of my time, probably like, like 6 of the 7 days of the week so far have been basically been put towards Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So that's been my primary focus. And even with all that time being put into it, it seems like I'm not really making a dent in this game because I went from doing like the Golden Saucer and the Corel Desert stuff, and now I'm doing Gongaga region. So I just did,
Mikungaga?
yeah, me, Gongaga. And yeah, as much as I love Gongaga in name, I hate the open
It's
world
my
area.
least favorite area of the entire game. So
I was just so excited to get to Gongaga, and I'm just like, oh man, it's so layers and it's a maze, and it's just like I'm like backtracking, making sure I'm not missing shit, and it's like, oh yeah, this chocobo bounces off this mushroom and launches you across the map. So now you have to backtrack to get to where you were in case you missed something.
yeah,
So it's like I wish I knew where this mushroom was going to bounce me half the time. But yeah, I just did the Gongaga reactor, and
gotcha.
that was probably the hardest boss fight I've had to do in this game so far with against Scarlet. Ah man, that was a hard one. I didn't die thankfully, but it was getting there. And we're starting to get some really interesting lore going on once you hit that Gongaga
Oh,
reactor.
just you wait.
I'm amazed I have not seen spoilers yet, even with all these weeks that have passed. So it's like maybe I'm just like ignoring, like I'm following the right people that aren't spoiling it.
I
And
think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
yeah, because like I was expecting like within a week people were gonna just be posting like the ending cinematics all over Twitter or something
yeah,
like that. Like it's like, come on, you freaks,
yeah.
give us some time.
I actually haven't seen anyone
Yeah.
post the endings scene or ending. Um, the I'm not gonna say anything about it because you're not there yet. So
Yep. So that's been the most of my time. I would hope that maybe by next week I can be finished, but it just like I think it's going to be like 2 or 3 more weeks probably before I can beat this game because that's
Yeah.
just the amount of time it's taken. And like I'm like sitting at 60 hours already. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh
I
man.
yeah, no, it's an incredible game though. I will say that it's going to be incredibly difficult for something to beat this for game of the year, at least for
And it's
me.
starting to make me wonder what is part three gonna be like? I mean, because at least, that third act of the original game, I don't recall too many newish areas. It was kind of just like revisiting certain
Yeah.
areas that you've already been to, kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm assuming like it doesn't seem like we'll be going to Wutai in this game, so I'm assuming that'll probably be a big part in the third act, but we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes. I mean, there's significant changes in what they're doing with this compared to the original. And it's, I always like to do like the whole thing, like they're designing this game in a way that people who played original can appreciate certain ideas of it because this is stuff that would never have been touched or talked on at all in the original game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But besides Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I had to do like a palate cleanser and just kind of do something else for a bit. So right now it's the Steam Spring Sale. So
It is.
for like $7, I picked up the Command and Conquer collection. So that included the original Command and Conquer, Red Alert, Command and Conquer, Tiberian Sun, Red Alert 2, Red Alert 3, Command Conquer 3, Command Conquer 4, Command Conquer Generals, Command Conquer General Zero Hour, uh,
Jesus.
Command Conquer Renegade, which is the first person shooter set in the Command and Conquer game, which
Okay.
actually is kind of like a little unsung hero back in the day. I mean, it had some fun multiplayer for its time. So, but you don't really think of first person shooters when you get Command Conquer, but it,
Right.
it, it was there. So I was included. So I started off with the very first original granddaddy of like RTSs. Well, besides Doom 2, which is Command Conquer.
Right.
So I was doing quite a bit of that. Kind of thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute. They made a remastered version of this game, didn't they? So I ended up picking up that instead, which includes remastered versions of both the original Command Conquer and the first Red Alert. So I'll probably just I played through a significant amount of the GDI campaign with that. And, obviously there for it being like one of the first RTSs that follows like what the formula is nowadays, there is some levels of quality of life that you kind of wish was there, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's still a good foundation. It's really fun even after all these years, like 30 years, I feel like, or maybe I'm overestimating how much time
Well,
it's
I
been.
think it's pretty close to that. If it's not at 30, it's definitely
You
nearing
have
it.
all those old style uh live action cutscenes that they've been known for and they've kept in the series ever since they started doing that. So that's been
Right.
like a staple. Like Red Alert 2, you had Tim Curry. So it was I feel like there's some pretty significant people that did those live action cutscenes at some point, but I haven't kept the only one I remember is Tim Curry in Red Alert talking about going to the one place that has not yet been corrupted by capitalism. Space. Um did some Dragon's Dogma 1 just to get ready for Dragon's Dogma 2. Like I said, I've never beaten Dragon's Dogma 1, so didn't get too far into it. Just, the prologue, create your character. I'm going to try to do like maybe like a Black Swordsman build kind of thing, like Guts from Berserk. How original, I know, but that's what I'm going to go for. So I just did that and messed around in that starting fishing village. So I barely have gotten into the game that much. That's been my week.
Awesome. I played a little bit of Helldivers, probably my first time diving in a hot minute. So getting to play with some of the buds was a lot of fun. I have unlocked almost everything. I think I'm level 29 right now. If not, I'm very close. At least just in the stratagems And just like Eric said, it's not a monotonous kind of playthrough at all. It is just fun every single time. And whether it is much funner with friends, but even with randos, it's still pretty damn fun too. And as Dash said, spring sales going on. There's a bunch of really good games. Wanted to go ahead and kind of call out real quick. Cyberpunk is 50% off. Phantom Liberty is on sale. Baldur's Gate 3 is even receiving a discount right now. Hogwarts Legacy, which was, I feel like, almost an unheralded game after the amazement that was 2023 because it came out so early. Would highly, highly recommend. So there's some great stuff there. But I also played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I actually beat the main story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm not going to dive into anything too spoilery. The ending was great, which has been kind of a subject of potential criticism because nobody knew how they were going to go ahead and handle it, especially compared to where things kind of end at this point, which is the Forgotten Capital in the original game. And they have made some major changes. And I am very on board with where things are going, though. It's going to make part 3, I think, very bleak. Even more so than in the original. And in part 3 of the original game, you have basically meteor coming onto the planet for the last little bit, and I'm just it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm now going through and doing all of the side content. I've finished 4 of the 6 regions completely. I'm doing Cosmo Canyon right now. I just finished Gongaga last night, Dash, so I'm very happy that I don't have to go back there. But I will say that from like a mini game standpoint, from just an overall story standpoint, they have certainly fleshed this game out. And everything that I was kind of hoping that this game would end up being, it's that and more. So I would say that honestly, I don't if they just continue this trend, I'll say maybe for part 3, if we get a little bit less Chadley, I'm not going to be upset about it. Yeah.
Every fucking time you do anything,
hold triangle, Dash. Just hold triangle.
Cloud. I have some intel.
Yeah. So that's annoying. Still a 10 out of 10 game for me, even with that. But yeah, just I'm not going to dive into spoilers. A lot of people I know are still playing the game. I want them to have as spoiler-free experience as possible. So enjoy it. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth in a few weeks when Dash is done, and we can kind of start unpacking some of those spoilers, where things are maybe potentially headed, and maybe talk to some of our previous guests. I know our good friend Caleb Pierce actually offered to come back on the show. So, maybe we'll kind of talk with him about Zach's journey and how he kind of ties into the game, which I really, really enjoyed.
I would love to see Professor Noctis again, because he definitely could give us a lot of insight on some of the stuff we see.
A lot of insight. Absolutely.
I got to follow up on what he's done so far for Rebirth.
Yeah, might be a great idea. So, in addition to what we're playing this week, we got some news that we've seen within the last few console generations. They have done a mid-generation console upgrade. And what I mean by that is that from basically the PS3, Xbox 360 era onward, in the middle of the console generation, they've released a new version of the console, which is typically either slimmer, more condensed, faster, or even a combination of the two. And the PS5 era, Xbox Series era appears to be no different, because we're getting reports now that the PS5 Pro, which is what the upgraded PlayStation versions have been known as, is hitting developers right now. And from a tech standpoint, it seems like it is a lot. A pretty huge upgrade from the PS5. As somebody who really enjoys my PS5, and I almost feel like I don't necessarily take advantage of all the hardware it can provide, I'll probably be somebody who's going to skip out on a console upgrade unless my console just happens to bite the dust, especially because with all of these upgrades, it's probably going to be a price increase as well, because I just don't see any way that they can basically have almost like a 4070 level PC in a console and then still only charge $499 for it. Like even if it was a digital only and charge $499, that's still just there's too much tech in there, I feel like, to make that
Yeah, I'm not sure how much
potentially worth it.
stock we can put in this. I've seen one post talk about like apparently the PS5 Pro or whatever is going to be like 3 times faster than the PS5. I'm not sure if
So
there's going to be like,
I've seen people that I respect talking about the specs of it. Tom Henderson is one that we've talked about previously on the show. He did a lot of the reporting for the entirety of the Blizzard acquisition. He was the first person to be on about Sony, doing a new handheld, and he was also the one who said, the PS5 Pro specs that are coming out, those are legitimate. So that's what leads me to believe that it is going to be valid. But I mean, Eric, you're somebody who games primarily, I'd say, on PC, but you do game on console as well. But I'd say more of like it's more so when like games are specifically
Mhm.
console specific, like a Rise of the Ronin. Like you'll end up playing that and you'll play it on PS5, but also you don't necessarily have any other option to do differently in that case. Uh, is a mid-generation console upgrade going to be anything that you're interested in?
It's not something I'd buy. Like, so I maybe have 10 games, if that, on my PS5. And if it hadn't been for Ghost of Tsushima, and granted, I've played Spider-Man on this. I like Spider-Man a lot. I still need to finish 2. Miles Morales is a good game. If it hadn't been for Ghost of Tsushima, man, I don't think this would have been a worthwhile investment for me.
Wow.
And I do like it. It's a great console, but I mean, it's just for the most part, I don't play it enough. I'd rather be on here dicking around because more of my friends play on PC.
Yeah, it is a
So
community thing for sure.
that's the community thing. So like I
Rise
can
of the
get in.
Ronin's not getting a PC release either, is it?
So
Uh,
PlayStation has shown a tendency to release some of their
Well,
like
but at
highly,
launch. But
yeah,
yeah.
no, not at launch. Helldivers
okay.
is the only PlayStation title that is launched simultaneously on both console and PC.
Is that because was the first one on PC when it released?
I want to
I
say
didn't
I
play the
believe
first one.
so.
later down the line, I think it ended up on
Okay.
PC. I think it might have launched like on the PS4 and then
Okay.
eventually got brought over to Steam. I can't remember. I got it for free for play. It was one of the free games of the month for PlayStation back in the day, and that's how I got the
Okay.
first game and played it for a bit.
Oh wow.
So
Okay. But yeah, no, like I said, I do like the console, and if I had more friends that played PS5, most of my friends have Xboxes that
Mm.
have consoles. So it's just like if I'm gonna online play, I mean, if it wouldn't have been for like the Saints Block Party podcast and that online Madden League we had, I
You would
wouldn't
have
have played online.
canceled your thing a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I had PlayStation Plus for a little bit, but I didn't take advantage of it. I found out I didn't know this. You could still get in party chat without it.
Yeah, it's not required for party.
I thought it was. So I've just been sitting here. I'd be playing on my PlayStation, be like, damn, everybody's on. I can't chat with them. So then one day I said, fuck it, let me just see what happens. And then London hopped in. He's like, oh, what up, dude? I said, okay, we're
Oh
back.
shit, we're
Yeah.
here.
So, but no, like I said, there are things coming out like Rise of the Ronin, and I'm gonna play. Eventually, gonna play Final Fantasy 16. It just happened. Like a lot of these games coincided with PC games that I wanted to play, and I'm just look, for the most part, you're not going to catch me ever spending $100 to $200 a week in games.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. So we'll obviously, I think we'll probably get a state of play at some point, maybe in the summer, maybe early summer, because a lot of this details to a late fall, early winter release for a PS5 Pro. I fully expect Xbox to follow suit as well. I've talked about it multiple times on this show. I hate the Xbox naming. Like, I hate the nomenclature. It drives me absolutely
Oh,
up a
it's
wall.
stupid.
Like, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it should be, if you decided to go 360, it should have been 720 and then 1080. Like, just stick with one thing. It drives me nuts. But anyway, so in addition to the console upgrades, we have learned via IGN that Palworld devs have basically said we've made too much money that we don't know what to do with it. I posted this in our Discord, which we'll definitely be sure to post a link if anybody cares to join us. We, have some pretty fun chats in there regarding like, you know, day of game stuff that we're seeing. But this was brought up in our Discord talking about why would you even openly say this unless you were trying to get somebody to buy your studio? So Pal World obviously was a hit that came out of nowhere. We've had a few of those this year. We've had Pal World, we've had Helldivers, and then you've had games on the other end of the spectrum, like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League obviously did not meet sales expectations. Skull and Bones did not meet sales expectations. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people didn't expect those two to meet those expectations as well. But I don't think anybody expected Helldivers and Power World to blow up the way that they did as either. So it's just very odd to me that they would come out with this kind of statement saying like, "Oh, we're making too." No one has ever said I make too much money. No studio, no person, no company has ever said this in the history of the world. So, and I get that, from a like development cost standpoint, Pal World has obviously probably had to pay for server costs that they probably didn't expect to start with, but they're making money hand over foot. Just something I wanted to call out because it's just so odd. Like,
I feel
why?
it. I mean, we know that they were pretty inexperienced when they started. Like they pretty
Right.
much essentially said that they taught themselves how to code and stuff when they started this game. So
Yeah.
like, I don't think they were. They started off at probably what was a passion project, a fun thing that they wanted just to do. It's like, hey, let's just make Pokemon with guns. That sounds cool, right?
Honestly.
And that it was an idea that I mean we've seen like the original teaser for this like years ago. I remember when it first came out, and then we heard nothing from it. And then now that Power World was like almost out, then we finally saw, oh yeah, you can play this now. But I mean, I'm not sure if it's just they got overwhelmed. It's just kind of like, we can't handle long-term support for this because we don't know how we're gonna do it, and
Yeah.
maybe they just offloaded on someone, but who knows?
I hope it doesn't go to like the wrong studio because there's a lot of people who would probably take advantage of that. Like, don't sell it to Activision or somebody who's going to ultra
But we'll be able
monetize
to sell
it.
it to Activision now.
Yeah, I that is actually very true. But I honestly hope that like one of the bigger companies doesn't buy it. I don't want to see PlayStation buy it. I don't because the game isn't even on PlayStation at this point. I know that they're working on a port of it, but it just let them, if they do need to go ahead and be acquired because it's a support issue, like have it be a medium-sized studio who could work with them and still maintain their independence in terms of like idea making and you know future content for the game. Like I just don't want to see them get hampered down by microtransactions and the things that we typically tend to see in live service, which has created this negative connotation around the term live service. So it's kind of just a weird situation all around. So we'll just briefly touch on this because I don't have like a ton about this. There's a game coming out tomorrow, and if I wasn't telling you this, you probably wouldn't have ever known. Alone in the Dark, which
Oh
is
yeah.
a reimagining of basically the original Survivor horror game, comes out tomorrow. It's a THQ Nordic, so it's not like it's a small studio either. This game also has David Harbour from Stranger Things and Jodie Comer. Like these are A-list actors that you've put into this game, and there has been nothing. There's no marketing. there. I have not even seen a trailer for this game except when I'm looking on the PlayStation page. Like I don't remember seeing anything about this. I have played the demo of the game and it's fine. Like I don't think that it's bad. But I think it's worrisome that there hasn't been any marketing because maybe they're just expecting it to be bad and they're just gonna, it's a bad investment. We're just gonna wash our hands of it, whatever.
I feel like if they weren't that confident about the game, I'm amazed they even had a demo then.
And the demo was released a while ago.
Hmm.
And remember, this game got pushed back because this was going to launch like right around the time that Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And they decided to push it way back. And then I think it was supposed to come out again, and they ended up pushing it back again. Just very odd that we're literally, so we're one day away. There's been no reviews I've seen, and that just might be because they decided the embargo is going to come out the same day as the game. That's not an uncommon thing today, unless you're extremely confident in your game, and then you're seeing like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They allowed the embargo to go, I think, like a week or two before the game. Spider-Man was kind of the same way. So I just I'm kind of flabbergasted that they're taking this approach, and I'm hoping it's not bad. I'd like to play the game at some point, probably not for $60. Maybe once it hits that $30-$20 price point. But we'll see. Also, I totally forgot to mention this in our What Are You Playing? I have not started playing this game, but I picked up Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. Haven't started it because I bought it and then Final Fantasy was coming out in like 3 days. Bad planning on my part, but excited to start playing it. Hopefully after Rise of the Ronin or Dragon's Dogma, or maybe both. So I may have just picked this game up and then I'm not going to play it for like 2 months. I'm pulling a dash basically. Um, so speaking of this week, in addition to the, under marketed Alone in the Dark, we also have Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma. So I have seen some wild takes on Dragon's Dogma, praising it as like this generation's, The Witcher 3 or this generation's Skyrim, which is like insanely high praise. Dash, I know you mentioned this generation Skyrim could mean a multitude of things, and hopefully it's not in the negative connotation.
Yeah, it's kind of like I get Skyrim was a great game, but I feel like it was beaten to death, and that is not what we should go for at all.
And I'm wondering if they're kind of leaning more towards like its cultural impact and how it affect games going forward. So obviously from a character customization point, this is probably one of the better games that we've ever seen.
I think it's the best, honestly. That's just crazy what you
Yeah.
can do.
We've seen handsome Squidward, we've seen Toby Maguire, we have seen I've seen the girl from Elden Ring, I have seen literally like every major character that you can think of in pop culture has been created in Dragon's Dogma 2. But aside from that, obviously, it looks pretty good. There is one kind of little bit of concerning news I've seen about Dragon's Dogma, and that it does have the frame rate is going to be about 30 frames per second uncapped, which is little concerning, but not every game is going to run at 60 FPS, and I do definitely get that. We'll have to see if that. I mean, Eric is going to come in next week and he's going to have some takes on it, so we'll be able to kind of dive into that a little bit more. But in addition, obviously, to Dragon's Dogma, Rise of the Ronin is coming out. So from everything that I've read, if you liked the Neo games, you're probably going to like Rise of the Ronin, which it takes a lot from that combat, but in more of an open world setting. The Neo games were more mission based. I love those games, so I am feeling pretty confident that I'm going to like this one. Eric, obviously you decided to go ahead and go with Dragon's Dogma. What was it that led into you deciding that over Rise of the Ronin?
I think I just would rather go hunt and fight giant monsters right now than go maybe do like a stealth game.
Yeah.
I prefer action games over stealth anyway. And I don't know. I just saw people making the characters and it kind of made me chuckle. So I was like, all right, I gotta get this.
The marketing got you there.
Yeah, 100%.
Dash, I don't know if you're going to be picking up either of these two this week. If
Not this
not,
week, I don't think. Financially, I just think it's in time based. Until I'm done with Final Fantasy Rebirth, I don't see myself picking up another major release.
which
That's a
one of
sweet
these
shirt, by the
two?
way, Dash.
What?
I think I've complimented you on that shirt before on the pod.
Yeah, I
That
know
shirt's
I've
so
worn
fire.
this multiple times. I
Oh, dude,
mean,
I wear the same shirts on the pod, dude. These are like my pajama shirts that like whatever, man.
oh yeah, let me grab do I got my laundry basket like right next to me actually, so I can
Dash is
probably
going to just pull up his pants from yesterday.
not the pants, but where's my did I wear my Tekken shirt? Yeah, I know I've worn like the Metal Gear Rising shirt
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
last
that
week.
shirt's fire. Yeah.
But I know I got my Tekken shirt in here too somewhere.
So, Dash, when you do decide to go ahead and pick one of those up, are you going to pick up Rise of the Ronin or Dragon's Dogma first, and why?
I'm thinking Drago's Dogma just because I think that's probably going to be the experience of the year along with Rebirth. Like, Rise of the Ronin could be a great game, but I feel like it's one of those games where even I don't have to play that release and feel like I'm missing out because it's always going to be there for me.
Yeah.
But like, I know like at least there's not like a multiplayer there is kind of that multiplayer component for Dragon's Dogma. I don't think there's like co-op if I remember from the first one, right?
I don't believe so. No.
But you can like use your friends' pawns, right?
Yeah. You can
So
pawn share.
yeah, it has kind of like that pseudo multiplayer where you just share with the community, kind of like the Death Stranding kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, no,
But
I think that's totally understandable. I think I'll be the one to offset us here. I think I'll probably roll with Rise of the Ronin first, just to provide a little bit of perspective. I like I said, I really like the Neo games. This is going to be a lot more of that, but maybe a little bit more narrative heavy and a little bit more focus. I've seen people kind of talk about it and say, "Well, this is just going to be another Ghost of Tsushima," and this game is very, very different. I think it's actually going to be more action focused than Ghost of Tsushima. Um,
it has like a lot heavier RPG elements into it too,
yeah,
it looks
and
like.
it's also going to be a lot harder than Ghost of Tsushima. So we're we're in kind of a weird period of gaming right now where Souls born games are not every game, but you can kind of almost feel their influence on so much in the gaming world right now. Like even Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's such a huge influence on like blocking and parrying. When the first one, literally, I did not block like at all. Um, this one, it's kind of necessary, especially in like some of the boss battles. Like you really have to be able to go ahead and utilize that. And obviously that's going to be a big part of Rise of the Ronin. And it's, part of the appeal, like it is for me to some people. So it's going to be a fun ride. I'm excited for us. Obviously, we're going to have some new games to talk about next week. Whether that be Ghost of New Eden, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rise of the Ronin. It's going to be a fun time. But like I said at the top of the episode, we're also talking with a guest who we're hoping is going to be able to join us here in the next like week or so. Like I said, it's quite a bit different than some of the guests that we've had on the show previously. But one I think would be an insanely cool conversation. Credit to Dash for thinking of this person to see if they'd be available, and they were very prompt in their response. We always appreciate that. But I think that's probably a perfect way to go ahead and cap this one off, unless you guys had anything else you wanted to dive into.
I just wanted to touch on that tweet I posted in the chat from Lair at Larian. He's teasing Baldur's Gate 3 and Vampire Survivor collaboration.
Baldur Survivors. There you go.
Ooh.
I could just see like having like all the main cast of Baldur's Gate 3 put into like as characters in there or something. That would be very awesome.
I would play the shit out of that game just like I played Vampire Survivors.
But the fact that that's the head of Larian saying, "Do you guys want a collaboration with Vampire Survivors?" and only options were yes or fuck yes. So
we just need him in Fortnite now.
Yeah.
Ooh, doing the gritty as Lae'zel would be awesome.
I hate that you put that into the universe, Dash.
I do the gritty with every character I can possibly do.
I am just so disgusted right now. Oh my
Fortnite is
God.
perfect meme material for that. Speaking of like characters in games, I saw someone mod Karlak in the Tekken 8
I saw
over
that
like
as well.
Azucena, so that like Azucena just like does all this like dancing around and stuff. So, which I mean, obviously you always
Very
have like
uncarlac like.
Karlak always doing her little dances when she's idle. Oh man,
Oh my God.
Baldur's Gate 3 is a treat that just keeps on giving and giving, even after
Forever.
almost like I think we're like it came out Marchish, right? Or am I get my or
No, I think it was like August or September.
oh what came out March last year?
Baldur's Gate 3 came out August 3rd of
Okay.
2023.
I felt like there's something major that came out last year in March. Oh, maybe that was Final Fantasy 16, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. I'm getting my games mixed up.
There's too many fucking games that came out last year. So,
Yeah, there's a ton.
all right. Well, I think that's a perfect spot to go ahead and cap us off here. Again, we thank everybody for checking us out. Again, be sure to like, share, subscribe wherever you go ahead and get your podcasts. We will catch you guys next week.
Have a good one.
Yep. Have a good one. Thank you.